Ah, good morning, fellow travelers. I have seen you have found your way to my glorious Elysian fields. Ah, yes, yes, I know what you think. You see a desert, a barren waste, but here life abounds. Life abounds as it does in the forest and the sea and the mountains and even the city. Because, my friends, as has been taught to us by her glorious lady, Saint Ariadne, where there is humanity, there is life. And where there is life, there is hope and beauty. Ah, but yet there is suffering in the world. Wherever humanity is, it seems we bring with us in equal parts madness and beauty, suffering and joy. But it doesn't have to be this way. In fact, my friends, it never did. So look upon the desert, and I will tell you why, though there is life all around, why such a place is so barren. And I will tell you about a dead man. And more so, I will tell you about a great city, a beautiful, shining symbol of humanity and the evil that lurks within it. But most of all, I shall tell you of the greatest evil mankind has ever known. The evil man known as Zahak! That's right, I'm doing my I'm calling it unpaid shill review. I might change it to unhinged lunatic review because basically I'm just going to be doing a few reviews that are going to be as some more good new RPG content comes out. Kind of my first look, and my apologies for my webcam. It's not on my monitor, so if you see my eyes looking off, that's because I'm looking at my monitor, not my webcam. Because I'm too lazy to figure out how to fix that at the moment. At the moment. But I just want to do my first look at some of these new great RPGs that are coming out. I'm probably going to do one for Shadow Dark 2 once I get it. But I really want the focus of these videos to be going into the ideas, uh, the values, and most importantly, the vibes of the game, the mechanics, and how all that stuff works. I mean, Black Lodge Games, they already have a review of their own game out, and I know they go into detail on that stuff. And Also, it's just one of those things where we're by the fucking book. If you want the math, if you want the rules of the game, and you want to know how it works, buy the fucking book, you fucking pussy. But that aside, let's jump right into this review. So I would say, heavily skimmed this book. So I didn't just give it one look over, but I haven't read every little thing in great detail. But I even without reading any of this, I know completely what this game is about, and that's because I'm looking at the cover here, and actually a little bit of BLG lore that was kind of interesting that I found out. So you can see this angel or this ancestor spirit here. It's kind of both. She's being captured and turned into a monster or whatever. But the actual image for the character, and I was talking to the BLG guys, but her design is actually inspired by your mom. Uh, but uh, but I know what this game is about from looking at the cover, because you can see these fucking crazy bitches doing this horrible ritual, and you can see this beautiful woman bloodied. I mean, she's getting raped. She's getting raped by a statue, and so you can just see the evil on display. And this game, it is a game about evil, and that is an important thing to know. But not that it's a big issue, but the only thing I wish there could be on the cover, and it's not even an issue because I don't know how they would go about doing this, and of course I'm not an artist, and this art is really well composed. Any additions might fuck it up, but I personally think like a fucking heroic knight in the far distance coming in would have really added and kind of given credence to the vibe of the game, because the vibe of the game is not just evil and an exploration of evil, kind of like Vampire the Requiem. In this game, what it's really about are the good guys who stand up to the evil, which is really cool because a lot of the games where it's you play good guys, got the heroes going on a great adventure, like it's like the world is fucking great, like it's fine, like if I'm a good person, I'm like a virtuous, honorable, guy in Forgotten Realms. And I got live in my village where I have my elf baker buddy, and my dwarf friend, who his daughter's like an ethical whore or whatever, and it's just like nice and fun, and if I'm a good person in that time, I'm doing two things: complaining about degeneracy and having a bunch of kids. I'm not going on an adventure. I don't give a fuck. There's nothing going on. There's nothing worth risking my life to fix. But in this game, there is. In this game, this is a world where if you are a good man and you have the power, you stand the fuck up. Because if somebody insults your friends and they insult your pride, and you can't be and you gotta be a man, you can't let it slide. That's an honor to Hulk Hogan. So getting past the cover there, you can see the format, the table of contents. I know it's a little thing, but I really like when formatting is good and well done. My favorite game ever made, which I'll get to, does not have the best formatting in the world, but this game is formatted really well. Um, and it has, I'll just tell you kind of the different chapters. So you have the introduction, which I'm going to get to because that is my favorite part of this book. And then you have a chapter, going in about the Cults of Zahak, which explains diabolism, which is the dark magic that these vile cretins are capable of. And then you've got the idols of Zahak, which are the horrific evil golems the Zahakites can create. And then it goes into the description of the different cults. You've got the barbarian cult, which is cool because it has the word barbarian in it. You have the civilized cult, which is my favorite. Nomad cult, which I honestly I read the least of that, but I'll still get into it in this review. And the primitive cult, which is really I really liked how they did it. They really managed to explore like the nature of like a primitive human clan, while still like making it role playable. Like you're not just like some of the members of the primitive cult of Zahak might be like that, and they might even gain some multiversal powers and summon Malchimpus from beyond the realm to do their bidding. Um, but then there's another section, Shadows over Avalok, which is really cool, and this is the closest thing you're ever going to get to a module from Black Lodge Games, as far as I see it, and it's way better than a module. It's not an adventure set up for you. It is a city with a web of intrigue, which is the next chapter relating to Shadows over Avalok, because the first chapters of it is City of Saints. But it's got a web of intrigue. It has events going on in the town, and there's an element of randomness. And what you guys might not know is that I used to be very, even though I've always hated like railroading, I always disliked like random tables or leaving things up to chance in that way and random encounters. And I could never really understand, I could never really explain why I disliked it beyond the superficial level of like, well, I'm running the game, so I know what's there. And it's like there's a bunch of things there, a bunch of shit could happen. BLG and their content, but especially this book, has really given me a new take on random tables, and I actually think they're pretty fucking great and can do a lot of good in a game. So, talking about the introduction and why I love the introduction of this book so much. So, an introduction to a book should let you know what the vibe of the game is, what the whole sort of style and feeling of the game. It should do that. It should let you know the basic uh, the basic ideas and facts of the setting, the simple, quick, basic information I need to know to role play a character in the world, an uneducated character with 90 IQ. All right, the introduction needs to give me enough lore information to play that character, 90 IQ, uneducated rando in the world. And it needs to give me a sort of reason to get into it, a reason why I should want to play this game, a motivation. And this introduction, it does all of that. I mean, literally, the first sentence is Cults of Zahak is a book of deadly foes and grave evil. Again, just like on the cover, they basically give you an entire description, not the mechanics part, but they basically give you the entire setting of the game in one sentence. If you open this book, if you buy this book, if you open it and you read this sentence, you just read deadly foes and grave evil, and then you implement that imagery in your own games using nothing else from this game will have been worth every cent because that's what you need in your games. Deadly foes and grave evil. And as it goes through, it really emphasizes that role playing aspect. This book is for role players, not fucking normies. Um, who want to deeply immerse themselves in a world very different from our own. And this game is extremely different and extremely similar from and to our own world. And I will explain why as I go through. In fact, I'm going to be getting to that in just a second here. And it kind of gives you the setting overview. The world is called Imbria, which is kind of cool because it kind of sounds like embryo. So Imbria, embryo. So remember, when you're playing Cults of Zahak, just think of an embryo. I don't know if it's gonna aid your gameplay, but it might. It might. As it explains in Imbria, it's this fantastical and mythical place where truly heroic deeds matter and shape the course of history. I love that. The idea of a heroic setting, it needs heroism to mean something, and I just need to be able to be the hero and do shit. I don't need to hear how I defeated the bad guy, but let's not forget the bureaucracy of the kingdom, who really, if you really think about it with their strategy and they really won the war. No, I killed the necromancer. I'm the good guy. I'm the hero. Me, me, me. That's what I want in a fucking heroic game. And you can see it goes on here talking about just the deeds of mankind, humanity. Fuck yeah. And about how the non-humans, those wretched subhuman scum, were basically corrupted by themselves because of their evil deeds. And the creator basically pointed at humanity in this book and said, "You." Then he turned to the non-humans and he said, "Oh fuck no!" And that is why they diverged from the path, and they in the age of myth. And so it's got really amazing mythology. I mean, I want to go into it more, but I can't. There's just too much. This video's already almost 17 minutes long, and I'm only in the introduction. Fuck. But then it goes into the kind of contrasting values. Is the It's not the good guys and the bad guys. The good guys, they have these different values where it's like the people who really believe in vitality and love and passion might sometimes clash with the people with ambition and warfare and kings. Yeah! And that those may clash, but that's in this game, in the moral universe of this game. Conflict is a gift from the creator, and it is part of what helps humanity grow. And I think that sort of moral philosophy, I'm not talking about, well, how does it work in real life? Because I don't give a shit about that. But that sort of moral, well, I do, but not in this context. That sort of moral philosophy is great for a role playing game, because a role playing game is going to be defined by conflict and individual character decisions. I could see the desire to make a game that really strictly sticks with Christian values and whatnot. But I actually think this is, if you want to capture quote unquote Christianity in a role playing game, this is coming from a Christian. This is a better option than doing actual Christianity in a role playing game, because without going too deep into it, in Christian values, or at least Catholic values, there is an ultimate unity to them that uh, does not allow, I will say, for a truly what's the word, non set in stone heroic tale. Christian tales of heroism, if you read the Bible, they ultimately come down to God, which is great. But if you're playing a character in a game, in the game, you want it to come down to you. And so this moral philosophy, it just goes to show how, like, fluff and the lore should not just be a separate thing from the game. They should be integrated into the game. And the way I see it, this moral philosophy is the moral philosophy for mythic and heroic role playing. And if I ever make a game setting for Mithras, which I might, then I would definitely implement a version of that, of this idea of conflicting virtues. And we see those conflicting virtues further encapsulated in the 12 saints. And if you couldn't tell from my opening, my favorite saint is Saint Ariadne, who is she is the saint of sensuality, fertility, and tremendous passion in all its forms. And I don't know what it is, but there's kind of something about how I imagine Saint Ariadne. I just really like her. She seems, really like graceful and beautiful. And there's just something I don't know. It's really really hard to pin down exactly what it is I like about Saint Ariadne. But I just find her really interesting. And you get Saint Damocles, which is a badass name for a saint. Saint Hector, the fucking man of bronze, who forged Zahak's chains. That's extremely fucking heavy metal. I definitely want to play like a barbarian shaman of Saint Hector, just fucking wielding a masterwork iron axe that I crafted. Just your wickedness pisses me off. Just split someone's head open. Um, Saint Tristan. I just find that name funny because imagine being named Tristan. Imagine like being a saint and being like I'm Saint Tristan of adventure and ambition. Then you've got Saint Hector standing by you. But no, Saint Tristan is cool. I just think with like Saint Vortigern, Saint Hector, fucking Saint Malcador, Saint Damocles, and then Saint Tristan. I don't know. Um, if your name's Tristan and you're listening to this video, I'm sorry if I've offended you, and I highly recommend you look up the app Quitter if you don't want to be, you know, named Tristan forever. And you can see what this book has a lot of is this art, which a lot of this is public domain art, which is great. I mean, it's free and it does the job, which is another point in favor of making games like this, which is more human centric and has that kind of medieval aesthetic, which makes it a lot easier to use. Uh, um, the public domain art. Uh, and it gets into the chapter on diabolism, which is a lot of mechanics. So I'm not going to go too deep into that, but mainly diabolism is the black magic of Zahak. It's an evil power that represents the inversion of passion and virtue. And basically, what happens is the hawk finds you in moments of misery and turns your passions for the good into a hate for the good. And he finds you at your most vulnerable. And the cool part is there's no roll where Zahak, like resist the power of Zahak. Do, 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 do. Critical hit. It's a choice someone makes. Now he's going to come when they're at their weakest, but it's still a choice, and that just makes for great scenes. There's a lot of players that are like, I don't want my character to lose. I'm a stupid bitch, and I don't want my character to lose. But this gives a great opportunity to use that for great role playing. I mean, imagine your character has just been like fucked. His ass has been kicked in. He's stabbed. He's lying on the floor of the tavern, just his life is leaving him. He might survive, but maybe not. And then he hears, "My son, my child, look how they act against such a man of joy who has given them much. Perhaps it is time they suffer as you have suffered." Giving your character that opportunity to either, yes, yes, or no, no, fuck you. Both just great opportunities to lead your character either down a dark path or a glorious path of redemption, or to give him that noble and respectable death, that honorable death that he was given the opportunity to prevent, and he chose not to because it is what it is. And so this Diabolism really encapsulates all of that, and just the spells that Diabolism gives you in this game are insanely uh, fucked up. Like to the point, usually you show me fucked up spells and powers. I'm like, I want to do that in your game. I'm gonna play an evil character, but in this, like, so evil and so effectively awful are these spells that yeah, like I'm looking forward to running it and having NPCs doing it, but I'm like, I don't want to play that. I let me fucking find here this one, like hellfire, burn metal, like it burns everything like it's dry wood. That's insane. That's so fucking cool. I actually do want to use that, but I use hellfire plenty in a different game. Um, but it's something quite different. Hemorrhage is a spell you just give someone a hemorrhage. I mean, it's a little more than that, but that's still pretty wild. Um, Inhumanity, take on inhuman aspects. Obsidian dreams, Zahak and his followers, they're banished from the dream, but they can burrow in there like a fucking maggot and get into your mind. Um, Punish the truth teller. I mean, that just like that one hit me. That's something I never thought of, and it's this for a game or for something for a villain to do, and it's a spell where you basically make it so people can't tell the truth, and if they try to, they vomit. And just for me, like imagine like a heroic, honorable man who's had this spell cast on him, and he's like refusing to give into its rules. So he's just trying to be truthful. There's, but just refusing to lie. And he could die that way. Honestly, I think that would be an honorable and heroic death for a character. Just a character dying from fucking vomiting too much because he just refuses to play along with a fucking game where he's not allowed to tell the truth. That would be interesting. There's just such a malicious thing to do, and like yeah, it can probably be useful for like like I can't have any witnesses. Nah. But like you could just silence them or just kill them. Just making it so they can't tell the truth is like no, you have to lie if you're gonna talk. You have to be dishonest if you want to speak. That is just brutal and very cool. And there's so much more just fucked up, awesome, evil spells within that book, within that section. But now to Idols of Zahak, which they're kind of the draw of the game. And as far as I am aware, they are ultimately the inspiration for the game, and that is because they are golems. And originally, during kind of the same time they were getting involved with your mom, Black Lodge Games was thinking about working on a thing for golems, and they were just going to make something for golems. That was like one of the earliest things that was like BLG, OG. You're listening to them talk about we're going to like make golems to add into your game. And that evolved into Cults of Zahak. And their idea for golems changed a lot. They very much, obviously, golems in this game are something objectively, heinously evil. Now, I personally, in my games, I really like evil golems. I really like good golems. And I like the idea of of a sort of honored servant of humanity. But even though it doesn't have any good golems, this game does evil golems better than any game I've ever read. And in fact, this game does golems better than any game I have ever read because it actually gives them personality and mythology and mysticism, and it makes them cool and dark and beautiful and evil and ugly and not fantasy. Sorry, sound cut out for a second. And not fantasy robots, which I appreciate. And you've got crystal golems, which are mysterious, and by creating golems, you gain certain powers. Like crystal golems make you big and smart. They basically turn you into Yakub. Peace be upon him. And one of the crystal golems is the Red Lady. And I have to say, I would smash. No, I'm just kidding. But this, I would smash. That would be the old man, the dead man of Gulrabi. And he is a flesh golem. Which just that's another reason why I'm like, all right, I don't want to play as Zahakim. I don't want to play a cleric of Zahak as a player. Because this is insane. Like I'm not doing this. Like this is awesome. I love this in my game. This is wonderful. But I'm not doing this. I will brutally murder, rob, and violate people in game. I'm not gonna create a flesh golem with with fucking saggy titties and fucking two tongues for his cock. But that just goes to show how fucking awesome a monster this is. I'm a hard guy to make uncomfortable with shit. I'm uncomfortable. Like I'm straight up uncomfortable reading this, and that's a good thing.